Most of us go to work every day just assuming we'll come home safe and sound. But that feeling of security, it's actually a pretty modern thing. And it was built on a really dramatic and sometimes tragic history. So let's pull back the curtain on the story of this invisible safety shield that protects so many of us every day.
I know, that sounds pretty extreme, right? But for most of human history, it was the absolute reality. The whole idea of workplace safety is a pretty recent invention, one that was forged in a time of brand new and, frankly, terrifying dangers. So, to really understand how we got here, we first need to understand the problem. And that story, well, it kicks off with a revolution that changed literally everything. For thousands of years, life was pretty much tied to the land. But then, this explosion of change happened. It pulled people out of the open fields and packed them into the deafening, grimy world of mills, mines, and factories. This was the dawn of a whole new industrial age. We're talking about the first industrial revolution, with England right at the epicenter. Now, it was a time of incredible, mind-blowing progress. But for the actual people on the factory floor, it was a brutal, completely unregulated, and often deadly new world. All that progress came with a really steep human cost. You had unguarded machines, ridiculously long hours, toxic chemicals everywhere. Injury and even death were just a routine part of the job. It just couldn't go on like that. The real turning point was the rise of a whole new discipline, a formal system for studying and regulating all of this. We call it occupational health and safety, or OHS for short. And this idea, it had been brewing for centuries. Seriously, it started with early observations, like way back with Hippocrates noticing that miners were getting sick from lead. Then it grew with pioneers like Ramazzini. He's kind of the father of industrial medicine. And it just kept evolving into the modern laws and global organizations that protect us today. So what's actually packed into that little acronym OHS? Let's break it down. Occupational is pretty straightforward. It's about your job. And that means every job, whether you're on a construction site or in a corner office. Then you've got health. Now, the World Health Organization has a great definition for this. It's not just about not being sick. It's about a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. It's the whole package. And finally, safety, which is really the core idea here. It's all about being protected from hazards, from risks, from anything that could possibly hurt you. You put those three things together, and bam, you've got a really powerful mission, protecting the total well-being of every single person on the job. Okay, so that's the mission. But how do you actually do it? How do you make it happen? Well, it turns out there's a simple but really powerful three-step framework. Pretty much all of modern workplace safety is built on these three core ideas: recognize, evaluate, and control. Just think REC. It's that simple. First up is recognition. This is all about just seeing the danger. It means spotting potential problems, whether it's an unsafe action, like, say, somebody not wearing a helmet, or an unsafe condition, like a super noisy machine or a slippery, wet floor. So once you've spotted it, next you evaluate it. How serious is this problem? How likely is it that someone's going to get hurt? This is where you get into measuring things, like noise levels or air quality, and you monitor worker health to really understand the risk. And finally, and this is the most important part, you control the hazard. This is where you actually do something about it. You implement solutions. Maybe you redesign a machine, improve the ventilation, or give out protective gear to get rid of that risk or at least minimize it. Okay, so we've got the history and we've got the method. But just how far does this safety shield actually reach today? You might be a little surprised. Modern OHS really covers three key areas. First, there's the worker themselves, their training, their health. Second is the work environment, the building, the air, the equipment. But it's this third piece where things get really interesting: safety outside of work. Yep, that's right. This safety shield can extend to things like your commute, company transportation, and even where workers are housed. It's a much more holistic approach because it recognizes that a worker's well-being doesn't just start and stop the second they clock in or out. So after centuries of struggle and trial and error and innovation, what's the payoff? Why does this whole system matter so much in our day-to-day lives? Well, the benefits are just massive for everyone. For employees, it means better health, fewer accidents. It literally saves lives. And for employers, it drives down costs, boosts productivity, and improves morale.
It's simple, really. A safe workplace is a successful workplace.
But at the end of the day, OHS is so much more than just a set of rules. It's a culture. It's a fundamental promise that the work you do isn't going to cost you your health or your life.
This whole system was built to protect you. So maybe next time you're at work, take a look around. Think about your own workplace. Are those standards being met? Because this is a legacy that's worth not just noticing, but actively fighting for.